I told him my biggest goal is to normalize the conversation around creative finance. Nobody, literally nobody but like a bunch of old white dudes that didn't want anybody else to know what they were doing creative finance. But now it's like, a creative deal? That's easy.
This is Mike.
Hey, is this Michael?
Yep.
Hey, Michael. Sorry, you cut out at the very beginning, brother. How you doing?
That's all right. Give me her.
Really, really good. Hey, I'm calling about the house on Via del Sol. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath. Have you had any investors call you and talk about maybe buying this as like a co-living, like rent-by-room situation?
I have not had anybody call me and talk about that, no.
Are you mostly getting retail buyers? The reason I'm asking the question is because I'm wondering if the CCNRs on this house restrict a rent-by-the-room situation. It's large enough that somebody like me and our company would potentially look at buying this. 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,200 square feet already. And I'm wondering if you know much about the CCNRs on this and if I could turn this into a co-living property.
I do not know for sure, but obviously it's an easy thing to check on, I would think.
Okay, cool. How's the listing going in the meantime? I see you guys just dropped the price. How's everything going?
It's good. We're getting some decent activity. It backs to Deer Valley Road, so that's probably the biggest thing. And then it does have a solar lease. It's a good solar product, so it definitely covers the costs and stuff like that, but it's kind of expensive. It's $274 a month.
$274. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys, if you don't mind, drumming up the CCNRs maybe when you get in front of a computer and maybe just texting them to me so I can kind of peruse through it before we submit an offer, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
But with this solar lease and the house dropping on price, have you guys gotten offers of just taking over the mortgage or doing some sort of lease option or something?
I've had a few people talk to me about we'll get your seller their money and then basically take over the mortgage a little bit, but nothing too serious. I'm not sure if my clients would go for it. They're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't like to take too many chances, maybe risk-averse.
Okay.
They've already bought a new house up in Pennsylvania, so they definitely want to get it gone, but I'm just not sure if they would do like a SubTo type of thing.
Okay, would you mind floating that by them? I think I could buy the solar lease SubTo. I could also buy the house SubTo. I don't mind the busy street because my strategy, I'm not putting a family in the house. I'm going to turn it into a co-living. My tenants do not care about the big busy street, so I might be the perfect buyer for your people. And I get your commissions paid, fully pay your commissions. I pay closing costs. Take over the mortgage, take over the solar lease, and I can close relatively quickly. If your seller is open to it, I could get on a Zoom with them and kind of explain our process and what we do in that type of situation. But how much time would you need to let me know if that's even a possibility?
I can talk to them later on today for sure.
Okay, cool. So I hate to give you homework. Sounds like I'm freaking giving you homework. I'm so sorry. If you could follow up on the CCNRs and then just shoot me a quick text and go, hey, sellers are intrigued or at least interested in hearing more, I could get on a Zoom with you guys. Make sure that obviously the offer we send over, I pay your commissions, not your seller. We put a little bit of money in your seller's pocket, take over their mortgage and their solar and get them taken care of for at least a couple of years until I could refinance them out.
Yeah. So how do you structure it then? So because they do need their money out of it to basically do a recast on the home they just bought. Up there in Pennsylvania. So
it depends. So step number one would be, hey, let's see if they're even interested. Step number two, I would want to show them who I am and my credibility that I do this quite often, so they know that they're not really taking. Actually, I think the biggest chance they have is leaving the house on the market. That's the chance they shouldn't be taking, right? They're paying this mortgage every single month. So I can show them that, and then I can kind of get a gauge of how much time I need based on knowing the CCNRs. If I know what strategy I can follow, whether it's co-living or I might even do like one thing that's working really, really well is doing sober leases. So I'll go to like an Oxford house, a big organization, and I'll sublease it to them. Those numbers between a co-living and the number between the sober living are dramatically different. And if the numbers are different, then my exit strategy and timeline would be different as well. So I would just check with your client, see if they'd be even interested in having a conversation about it, and then float the CCNRs over to me so I can tell you a more specific structure.
Okay. And so again, I've never done one of these before. So if they were open to it, do they get all of their equity out, or how does that work?
We'll do like a hybrid. So I'll take over their mortgage. Do you know how much equity they have?
I don't off the top of my head. I'm driving right now.
Got it. No problem. So depending on how much equity they have, sometimes sellers really don't have as much equity as they think. Sometimes sellers have a lot. And so we'll give them a portion of the equity, and then we'll make a game plan of either making a monthly payment towards the equity, or we'll make a game plan of doing a refinance, let's say within 36 to 72 months is kind of the average we do on single family. But the deal, the interest rate that they have, how much equity they have kind of changes the structure of that deal and what levers I can pull, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely bring it up to him. And then, what's your name?
My name is Pace, P-A-C-E, like Pace Bacani sauce.
Okay. Yeah, I know you, Pace. You're all over the interwebs.
Sadly, I wish I wasn't, but yes.
Hey, it seems to be working, man. So good for you.
Thank you, brother. Okay, CCNRs, you're driving. If you could get me CCNRs and then just float it by the seller. Again, your commission's paid from my pocket, closing costs I take care of. Solar lease I buy SubTo, house I buy SubTo. And if your seller's open to it, we can just move some levers around and figure out what makes sense for them.
Okay, awesome, man. We'll get back to you. It may not be today because the HOA is probably closing pretty soon. So
take your time,
maybe
brother. No problem. Even by Thursday or Friday is perfectly fine too.
Okay, thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
How dope is it that we get to be in a community with this guy? You've done such a good job, bro. You've done such a good job at normalizing creative finance and making this a conversation piece that people are willing to have. That just having that be the way that he didn't know he didn't know it was you. But like now, and if one of these guys, I work with Pace, I learned from Pace. You have that like almost runway of credibility that you have in front of you that it's really difficult for people to understand outside of what you've been able to accomplish. It's
Jamil
amazing.
And I, back in 2017, Jamil and I sat down at a dinner and we were talking about big goals that we had. And I told him my biggest goal is to normalize the conversation around creative finance. Literally nobody but like a bunch of old white dudes that didn't want anybody else to know what they were doing creative finance. And those guys just held all the secrets. And I was like, we need to have title companies doing creative finance. We need to have leaders all over. And we hadn't even launched the community at the point. But now it's like a creative deal? That's easy.
And this guy's never even done one before, but he knows you.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Okay,
bro.
What did we learn? How did I know he did not know about the equity?
Because most of them don't.
None of them don't. None of them do. Okay, I'm sorry. The 1% of unicorn agents, I'm never, ever talking about them. Yeah, and how many agents do a seller net sheet?
Most don't even know what a net sheet is.
Okay, do you guys know what a seller net sheet is? Okay, it's something that good agents should do when they go meet with the seller. They go, if I list your property, it's going to take, on average, 120 days based on the marketplace. Those 120 days, you've got mortgage payments, insurance, you've got this, that, and the other. That's going to come out of your side. You also have a mortgage to pay off. You have this, this, and this. The average closing cost. Your buyers are going to come along and ask for credits. That's kind of what's going on right now. Your walk-away money after I sell your house is $12,700. That is a seller net sheet. What would you say percentage-wise of agents that actually do that?
10%. I'm with EXP. They teach us.
Okay, but why wouldn't they do that?
You have to.
No, they have no clue.
You gotta let the seller know what they're gonna.
You're in a good organization and you're being taught right and you're a credible you're an awesome person. The problem is 99% of people in any business, forget about agents. How did I have the confidence? How much equity they have? And I was doing this. I am not going to shake my head no if I don't have 100% confidence. And he's a nice, smart guy. He's not a bad person. Remember, we're not saying these are bad people. But also, if I'm up against another listing agent, okay, to give you some credibility to real estate agents, you know what sucks about being a real estate agent is that the credible ones have the same amount of credibility as their cousin down the street. Because they go, well, my cousin's a licensed realtor. Like, that's what makes them good. The thing that makes people good is their ability to find buyers to work with and spot the bad things in a contract and vet the buyer and all that kind of stuff and understand these transactions. But then also, more importantly, educate your seller on saying, this is how much you're going to have and this is what's going on with the marketplace. You're asking for too much money. I don't mind starting out high, but I want you to know But what is happening with the loser agents that are competing against you is they won't show a seller net sheet, which then highlights how little the seller is going to walk away with. So when you do it and then another agent comes along competing against that listing for you, it seems more appealing going with that other agent because they weren't transparent. So them being non-transparent is a good marketing mechanism for them. And so the honest agents actually have things going against them. If your licensing board made it a requirement that you would lose your license if you did not present a seller net sheet, it's kind of like on a real estate transaction, a title company not showing you a settlement statement at the end. That's how important a seller net sheet is, in my mind, in your mind. Why is the licensing board not requiring it? Or the broker. Well, because then another broker is not requiring it. That's the problem, right? Okay. So a couple of things I learned on that call, or things you should highlight. I also talk fast and I can get through a transaction like no problem. I've done this enough times. Same thing with these guys. Anybody pick anything up? Takeaways. Okay. All the way in the back. Just give him a permanent microphone, Brandon. He's always got something smart to say, which he does. I'm not joking.
You led the conversation. Like, he followed you step by step. Whatever you said, he was like, oh, let me find the answer for him instead of the other way around.
Yeah, you'll never see me not guiding a conversation, even when I'm the quiet one. I know when to cut them off. I know when there's so much. This is why, for you new people, I don't want you to go, holy crap, I'm not as good as Pace. I want you to go, I need to anchor into the people in the community that are as good as Pace, which we have them all over the community.